Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you joined us for this Know Before You Register session for PEARC25. I'm Catherine Kelly, and I'm joined by my co-presenter, Lauren Michaels. We both serve on the PEARC Steering Committee, as well as the Committee for Accessibility and Belonging. Along with other PEARC committee members who are here today, we're excited to guide you through everything you need to know to get the most out of your PEARC25 experience. Whether you're planning on attending PEARC for the first time or a returning participant, today's session's designed to help you feel informed and confident before participating in the conference. What we'll cover today are key dates and deadlines you should have on your calendar. That includes registration dates, travel grants and student program opportunities, hotel accommodations and logistics, orientation activities for first-time attendees. We have opportunities to connect and network before, during, and after the conference, and more about how PEARC fosters a sense of belonging through accessibility and community building. Finally, we'll leave plenty of time for your questions. Feel free to drop questions in the Q&A through the session, and we'll pause at the end to answer them. So let's dive in and get you ready for PEARC25. Lauren, please take it away.
Thank you, Catherine. As Catherine said, I'm Lauren Michael, also on the PEARC Steering Committee. And we're excited to welcome you to the PEARC community. PEARC is the annual gathering of professionals and organizations who work in the space of practice and experience in advanced research computing, whether that's in developing technologies or supporting services that really advance research, development, discovery, and demonstrations of capabilities for advanced computing, networking, data storage, visualization, workflow orchestration, workforce development, and collaboration. You can view more of this information about PEARC on the PEARC25 website. The dates for PEARC25 are July 20th through 24th, so about 2 months away. And we're holding PEARC25 in the Greater Columbus Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio. The theme this year is the power of collaboration. Next slide, please. And in the spirit of this theme, the conference is really aiming this year to explore ways that working together makes our profession and the field and our impact on research and education even stronger. Conference submissions and activities are really going to be focused on facilitating collaboration and sustaining connection with others. Next slide. So if you're not so familiar with the PEARC25 program, the basic overview is that we start out the week with tutorials and workshops, where tutorials may include hands-on training related to the types of technologies that folks in our profession execute or support. Workshops are typically long-form sessions for community engagement around deep dive topics. And then we have several days of plenary sessions and technical program. This includes keynote sessions with invited speakers or panels in plenaries, as well as welcome statements and awards. The technical tracks corresponding to the presentation of short and long paper reports are applications and software, systems and systems software, and then workforce development, training, education, and community. This year we have added a category referred to as presentation only, to report on aspects of operating teams or organizations. We also have panels that can include themes across a number of topics, but where these are bringing together multiple individuals, often across more than one organization, to speak about a particular topic. We have birds of a feather sessions. These are sort of shorter form opportunities to bring together folks around deep dive or specific topics, sort of the shorter form variation versus workshops. And then there's a posters and visualization showcase on Wednesday for work presented in the form of a poster versus a paper, and for visualization capabilities or demonstrations of visualization capabilities. We have community building and networking opportunities throughout, and we'll highlight some of those that are just for first-time attendees. There's an exhibitor forum throughout that really helps to fund our conference, and we're very grateful to all of our exhibitor sponsors. And then there's a student program throughout that we won't talk about too much in detail today, but we'll briefly introduce, as well as some co-located workshops and events often executed by organizations within our professional community who bring together some of their members or participants. You can learn a lot more about these different components by going to our program at a glance page and looking at the calls for proposals. If we go to the next slide, we'll show you kind of the general layout of content. So the student program, which runs throughout the conference, actually starts on Saturday. That includes some orientation for the students. And then there are key student activities on every other day, including gatherings at meals, etc. On Sunday, those student program activities continue. And there's a significant co-located event, Nexus Day, operated by PEARC, which is an organization relevant to our community. But the general program follows the flow of workshops and tutorials on the first main program day, that will be Monday, and then technical program following on the next 3 days, with Thursday ending as a half day. And so each of those days, there's a plenary session with a keynote, and then sessions for the technical tracks for papers, as well as scheduled time for the Birds of a Feather sessions, panels, and then evening socializing events. And our next slide highlights some of the things that are specific for first-time attendees and to support your engagement and networking with the community beyond participating in the daytime sessions. So on Sunday, July 20th, we've got a dedicated first-time attendee orientation late in the afternoon, really kicking off the evening, as well as a happy hour where you can mingle with some conference veterans, primarily some folks like ourselves who are on the steering committee or the conference committee. On Monday, following workshops and tutorials, we are organizing first-time attendee dinner groups, where each of these groups will be attending dinner at a different restaurant. We'll be emailing folks who register as first-time attendees with more information about that, but basically you'll get to sign up for which dinner group you want to join, where each one of those will be led by at least one veteran conference goer. And then on Tuesday and Wednesday, we have networking events, first at the Center of Science and Industry in Columbus. And then on Wednesday is when we have our poster and visualization reception. So great opportunities for first-time attendees to really get a lay of the land and to have a place to go and people to engage with, especially in the evenings after the regularly scheduled conference events. Next slide, please. So just a review of these orientation and social events. On Sunday, that orientation starts at 4:30. So if you have the chance to schedule your flights to get in town ahead of then, we'll be joining everybody together at room A121 and 122. And the happy hour will be nearby after doing a walk through the convention center. And then on Monday evening will be those first-time attendee dinner groups assembling and departing to their different restaurants at 6:30 and 7 p.m. Next slide, please. You can view all of this information for first-time attendees and a good chunk of the content from the remainder of this presentation if you go to our first-time attendee page, dedicated page on the PEARC25 website. So you can continue to find all these details there. Next slide. And if you're looking for more information about the student program, the deadline for application for this year has actually passed. But we do have dedicated pages discussing the student program. And in particular, as you're registering, if you are interested in being a mentor, the registration process will ask you that. And there are details in the student program pages about expectations and participation of mentors. We really appreciate having mentors who work with the individual students, and there are opportunities to engage with the students, not just during the conference, but before and after. Next slide, please. So why attend PEARC? And this may be important if you are unsure yourself about whether you'd like to go or need some information to provide to folks at your organization to help justify the costs of registering and travel and those sorts of things. But PEARC really is the annual gathering of the national community of folks who really work in the space of operating and enabling the use of computing and data-intensive technologies. A lot of these folks work in higher ed or at research institutes, national labs. We have a number of federal agency representatives who attend every year, but there are also representatives from commercial entities, particularly some representing vendors that our community members engage with or who provide services that we make available to our end users. And typically, this community is doing so in support of open science, teaching of research, methodologies in the classroom, and other scholarship across fields and sectors. PEARC, therefore, is a really great way to learn about the latest technologies, practices, and opportunities from things like big data, data science, AI, and all these other sort of buzzwords that are really central to the work that we all do, but a number of collaboration opportunities, and including resources and information about funding opportunities at the national, regional, and organizational level, and to inform your organizational level development. Like I said, we have a number of folks who come from federal agencies, and there are some announcements about funding programs that are made at this conference. The other reason, of course, is to come and share your own experience and expertise by presenting and participating in our community. And while the opportunity to submit for any of the sessions has passed this year, that tends to happen earlier in the spring. We've already, given out notices of acceptance. And if this is your first time, please keep that in mind as a future opportunity to sort of spread the word about something neat or great that your organization is doing in this space. And just to give you a sense of who you get to engage with at the conference, last year we had a record-breaking number of attendees, nearly 1,000, and more than 40% of those were first-time attendees. So hopefully that shows we are a very welcoming community. There are lots of opportunities for first-time attendees to engage, and we get quite a bit of engagement from first-time attendees who come to the conference. If you're in a leadership position, or if you have other reasons to engage with folks at the leadership level, our conference has a really good portion of folks who report being at the managerial level and above, but really across roles that work in the space of advanced research, computing, and data capabilities. And then in terms of the organizations that folks are coming from, about 50% are from R1 and R2 higher institutions of higher education. But that also means that 50% are from non-R1, R2 organizations, including the non-academic sectors that we mentioned above. So it's a great place to engage with a variety of folks, a variety of roles across different types of organizations and different responsibilities. Next slide. And now I'll hand things off to Catherine.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. I will be taking some time to walk you through some key logistics about the conference beyond what Lauren has provided, and then some opportunities that can help you plan to get the most out of your PEARC25 experience. So you'll see that early bird registration, it ends on Friday, May 30th. That is a week away, so please make your plans. The regular registration is from May 31st to June 13th. And then late registration begins on June 14th. So the earlier you register, the better pricing you'll get on the fees. In terms of the fee structure, the fee varies based on your membership status. If you're an ACM member or SIG HPC or SIGAP, and whether you're a student, you'll pay a different registration. What's included, though, are all the workshops and tutorials in that registration fee. As Lauren stated, the workshops and the tutorials, they take place on Sunday and Monday. That's really unique for a conference to have that all-in-one pricing. So she suggested that you come in on Sunday if you can make your travel arrangements, and I would reiterate that. So if you go to that link for registration under attendees, you can register for the conference. We do have some opportunities still for some grant support. May 26th is the deadline for these. That's Memorial Day, so you have a few days left to apply. These are open to students and early career professionals who require financial assistance to attend the conference. There's a dependent care travel grant, and that will help cover in-home care costs or travel expenses for dependents or caregivers who are joining you as an attendee. There's also an early career travel grant, and that supports early career professionals. It can offset costs like the airfare, the lodging, local transportation, and registration. So all the details to apply are on the application form. And you will be notified of your status pretty quickly. The turnaround is June 10th for those notifications. So, and those are on the website in the travel grant opportunities section. So you can also ask questions at the travel grant coordination at PEARC.org email. I do want to talk about the accessibility and belonging. The PEARC is dedicated to creating a welcoming environment for all attendees. And so a lot of the accessibility measures we have included is we made sure the venue is fully accessible. We can address dietary needs. I'm celiac, so I definitely appreciate that. It provides a quiet space for conference activities. And there are accommodations readily available upon request. It also is part of this is to ensure adherence to the conference code of conduct. And we want to make sure that there's a safe process for reporting any violations of that. So along with that are a number of programs and sessions that are aimed at fostering a sense of community that we've included. So please keep an eye out for that in the program. And we do have a link to that on the website for you to gather more information. So in order to prepare for PEARC, please take a look at the full conference schedule when it goes live. It's usually about a month before the event, and start thinking about which sessions you'd like to attend and who you might want to connect with, whether it's a speaker or another attendee. The more intentional you are, the more value you'll get from your time at the conference. And then secondly, we will have a CVent app once we get closer to the event, and you can download that free app from Google Play or the Apple App Store. And that will be a place where you can build your personal schedule, find session locations, and connect with other attendees. A little bit about networking. Lauren has talked about that, and so I'm going to talk a little bit more about the networking opportunities that are available. One ways to prepare for this is to have your elevator speech ready. Think about a quick 30-second introduction about who you are, what you do, what you're interested in. That's a helpful way to start conversations and make a memorable impression, especially during the numerous networking sessions we have and any hallway chat. And I think my first impression of PEARC when I started was how many hallway chats people are engaged in it, and especially during breaks. So definitely take advantage of those. And if you're looking for a job, please come prepared. Bring a few printed resumes. You might end up with an on-the-spot interview. Somebody may want to talk with you a little bit more. So it's good to be prepared for that. And then PEARC is also a great place for potential collaborations, whether working together on a grant or being able to do some research together. So some of those collaborations begin at this conference. Another thing is to make sure you bring your business cards or ready your digital version of business cards on whatever app you normally use. And if you haven't used your LinkedIn profile in a while, it might be a good time to update it. If you have any other helpful suggestions, we would love to hear them during the Q&A. And then what to pack. Keeping this pretty simple. Comfy shoes are a must. I mean, you're going to be walking more than you think. The convention center is pretty long, and then you have sessions and events and social activities. So make sure your footwear is up for the challenge. Please bring a reusable water bottle. We will have water stations available for you to fill up so you can stay hydrated throughout the day, because it is at the end of July. And then even though Columbus is pretty hot, it's a little humid. The highs are usually in the mid 80s Fahrenheit, 29, 30 degrees Celsius. You should plan accordingly, but also make sure you bring some layers because the conference rooms will be chilly, even though it's warm outside. And then finally, don't forget chargers for your phone, laptop, and other devices that I've left them at home before. I'm sure others have, and it definitely puts a bit of a dent on the day when that happens. So next, Lauren provided some really great details about the program at a glance. So make sure you review that in advance, especially as the full schedule is being populated on the website. Registration opens on Sunday, so that's a good time to familiarize yourself with the convention center. arrive, at least 30 minutes before your first session so that you can check in and find your way to the meeting room, the session room. Some sessions will fill up. So if you want a good seat, it's usually good to get to the room earlier. As for the badges, it's good to keep your conference badge visible during sessions. It helps the presenters to identify you, and even though Columbus is relatively safe, we would recommend to remove it when you're outside the venue. And then also, you may feel more comfortable traveling in groups at night. I mean, we're going to be in a very well lit area of the city, but it may be something that you would like to do. But I would definitely suggest that for your badges. And then flexibility at the conference, feel free to move between sessions. You may want to hear a particular speaker and in one session and another speaker that's and a session happening at the same time. So yeah, make sure you sit near exits so that you can move among the sessions. And then make sure you ask questions during the Q&A. If this is your first time and you haven't submitted anything, you can still engage in the conference through asking questions, and start with introducing yourself with your name and affiliation. So in terms of maximizing your experience at PEARC25, another way of getting the most out of the technical program is that you could partner with colleagues to cover concurrent sessions and then share the notes. Again, on networking, introduce yourself to new people, try to make a goal of at least a couple new attendees daily. And you can easily do that again during the hallway conversations or during breaks and during the social aspects of the conference. We have plenty of opportunities, and I won't go into those. Lauren's already outlined those beautifully, but we do, again, the Sunday happy hour, the Monday dinner groups, and then the Exhibitor Forum. And the Exhibitor Forum is a great way to learn about new tools and services and innovations. It's free to all attendees. They're usually short 15-minute talks, and those are happening in the Collaboration Hub and the Patel Ballroom, which will be a central hub. We'll have tables, chairs, a lot of things, a lot of opportunity for informal meetings and networking. So we're going to consider that to be the heart of PEARC25 activities. And then after the conference, your participation doesn't necessarily have to end. You can follow up with new connections. After the conversations that you have at the conference, you can reach out to the people you meet, whether it's email, LinkedIn, and keep the momentum going. One thing that we really want to make sure that you do is to share your feedback. So we'll send out a post-conference survey, and we really want to hear your opinion on how the conference went for you. We do pour over that, the steering committee does, to improve the PEARC experience from year to year. So those few minutes it takes to complete, it really does help us out. And then, if you really enjoy your time at PEARC, get involved. Consider joining us behind the scenes next year. You could help review submissions for the tech program. You could join a committee to plan the next conference. It's really a great way to build connections and contribute to the community. And you may end up finding some really strong friendships. So. And so you can find more information on the Know Before You Go section located under the Attendees tab. And so before we open the floor for any of your questions, I'm going to hand it over to Lauren to wrap up.
Thank you, Catherine. So our last slide here just has quick links to the most important ways to stay connected to the PEARC25 and really the PEARC community. So the website for PEARC25 is listed there. There is a mailing list that you can join to make sure that you get updates and other timely communications from the PEARC conference series. And then during the conference especially, there are opportunities to engage via social media, particularly through LinkedIn and Facebook. And then if you have any questions, there's a contact address that you can also find on the PEARC25 website. So feel free to send them there, but we are going to transition now to some dedicated time to address any questions that you all have. Feel free to use the Q&A feature to send us those questions, and we'll work through them as well as trying to answer them in writing where we can. Thank you, everybody.